I just arrived to the gig today on my spherical movie ball. And boy, are my arms tired. My name's Luke. By the way, it's a name, I love having this name. It's a name it's really dear to me. Luke is a really badass name. And I have a theory about it, actually. I've always believed that the Star Wars movies were almost completely made by the name Luke for the main character. I think that if they'd used a different name for the title character, it wouldn't have been nearly as successful of a movie. If halfway through The Empire Strikes Back you heard, Steve, I am your father. Always wanted to hear that, Steve, I bet. So I am an American, so you're all welcome. For the fact that you live in freedom. That was us, we invented that. To be more specific, freedom was invented by Steve Jobs in the year 1891. And after he realized his creation, Mr. Jobs stood back and said, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." And I think that's one thing we can all take to the bank as a fact, because I'm a product of the American public school system. But being here in New Zealand's been cool. Everyone's really nice. Most people like Americans, or at least seem to, for the most part, because there are no real easy anti-American insults that come to mind. I've never had anybody say to me from across the street yelling, "Hey, stupid American, why don't you go back to your own country and watch some movies that haven't come out over here yet?" Getting used to the way people talk here in New Zealand as well. There's a few funny words that people use for things. My West Aucklandian uncle the other day was giving me some cooking tips, cooking advice. He was saying, "Mate, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to biff that in the microwave for about 2 minutes, whack on some melted cheese and barbecue sauce, and it'll be choice." I was like, "Really, Uncle? Do you think I should peel this orange first?" "No, mate, biff it in the microwave, you won't regret it." And I'm thinking, biff it in the microwave, whack on some melted cheese. Do you get all of your words for pudding things from the fight scenes of that 1960s Batman series? "Hey man, where do you want me to put this?" "Oh mate, just kapow it over there in the corner. Bonk the other one just over there, it'll be good." Before I came here to New Zealand, somebody warned me back at home in the US. They said, "Just be careful over there because they use the metric system, don't get caught out." And so I said, "Cool, I got this, no problem." So one of my first nights here in New Zealand, I got kind of way too drunk at this bar. Got wasted, fell over. The bar staff came over to try and help me out, get me outside. And I said, "Get off me, I can do this, relax. I can walk out of here on my own 2 meters." Went outside afterwards, almost got into a fight with some guy over a kebab or something, and he goes, "Man, I'm gonna pound your face in." And I'm like, "You must not be from around here." I believe what you meant to say was, "I'm going to 0.4535 kilogram your face in." Being from the US is it's a bit funny because Americans don't tend to have the best knowledge of geography. I think we all know that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, myself, that includes me, by the way. I mean, I haven't been anywhere else in Europe aside from New Zealand. So when I was a kid, I had a lot of trouble explaining my New Zealand roots to people because these grown-ups would come up to me when I was at school and they'd be like, "Hey there, Luke, how you doing? Did you have fun over the summer? Huh? Did you go to camp?" And like every couple of years we'd come over here to visit the family and so forth. So I'd be like, "I wasn't at camp. I went to New Zealand." And they'd be like, "Well, sure you did, little fella." Isn't that adorable? He's just invented his own little imaginary fantasy land. And what did you see there in New Zealand? Were there witches and unicorns and elves? Nope, there was Georgie Pie and Maoris. Well, sure, whatever you want to call your little friends. One last thing about me, I've always been a big fan of music, particularly live music and concerts. And I've always wanted to go see a concert which features both Florence and the Machine and Rage Against the Machine. Just to see what the fuck happens. I always pictured Rage Against the Machine at some point would say, "Step aside, Florence. Our quarrel does not concern you." But your backing band, on the other hand. Thanks, everybody. My name's been Luke.